Welcome to the Clean Comedy Podcast, featuring James Creviston and LukeLacoy. Yeah, we're about to get clean up in here, so clean your mouth out with a bar of soap and get ready for the Clean Comedy Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Clean Comedy Podcast. I'm James Creviston, and today I'm here with my trusty co-host, Mr. LukeLacoy.
Hi.
And today we're going to talk about creativity hacks. Some of the things that we do every day, or at least what I do and Luke does every day, require a massive amount of creative energy, right? Luke does TikTok for David. Tell us what you do every day, Luke, because I don't want to tell your story. You tell your story.
For creative stuff, I do ghostwriting like on a daily basis. I do ghost TikToking.
That's where Casper does TikTok. Ooh, okay, go ahead.
And that's anything from like editing the video, writing the captions, looking for jokes, editing the content of the video, the post. And then my non-creative is eBay, which I mean there's a little.
That's still creative, man.
Yeah, like writing the descriptions of the item, whatever, and trying to be funny if there is room to be funny. But those are kind of like the main things. Yeah.
So when you say ghostwriting, what are you ghostwriting? What kind of stuff are you ghostwriting?
Comedy articles right now.
Yeah, comedy articles, screenplays, and stuff. And then do you write stuff for yourself as well?
Not as much. That's like on the back burner. So if I'm gonna have something worth money, I'm gonna do that first. But then again, there's like little. I do have joke ideas that come in and out, and I get those written down just to have them to come back to later and work on them. But otherwise, I'm not. Well, I started my own screenplay too, which that's
nice.
Not going anywhere because I'm, working on other stuff still. So, but I mean, I at least like kind of got the bones of it down and what the story should be. So, I mean, I know you have a catalog of tons of projects too that are like there. It's just like when are we going to get around to it?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I went and looked the other day because I'm in a program for veterans that is through the WGA and the Writers Guild Foundation, all that stuff. Working with WGA writers and stuff. And I went through my backlog of ideas, and I think there was like 138 different ideas, like film and TV ideas and small web series and stuff like that I just written down, like ideas and premises. Some had like a ton of stuff, information for them. Some had like 3 sentences or whatever. Some just had like a premise or a log line, and that was it. But I was like, man, there's a lot. And I look on my phone all the time and I see like this. I mean, there's a ton of things I still want to write. And yeah, you're right. When it comes to, is it money or is it going to be my personal project? Which one is it going to be? And money, unfortunately, wins out in that instance. And you have to pay the bills. You have to take care of your family. You have to do the things you have to do. So, I mean, that's part of it. But we should always constantly be working on personal projects we can. Like I at least write a joke every single day. I write one joke for myself every single day. No ifs, ands, or buts. Every day I write one joke. So it doesn't mean it's good, right? But I work that muscle. And then I have a routine and a process every day. I'm at the keyboard by a minimum of 10 o'clock. Sometimes it's earlier. Sometimes it's right at 10, but it's never any later than 10. I'm always here. I'm always there. Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday, it's kind of depending on what I did for the week, what I need to finish still. It may be noon to 3 or 10 to 1 or whatever. It might be a shorter amount of time. Sometimes it's nothing, but usually I am doing something on Saturday. And then Sunday, for sure, never do anything. I never do any writing on Sunday. I never do any of that stuff on Sunday. I will answer customers if they message me or whatever, but other than that, I don't do anything on Sundays. And my process is I know that I'm going to be here at 10. I have specific music that I play. I have a specific drink that I drink. I take a mental, I forget what it's called, like a neurotropic thing, but I forgot what it's actually called, the brand. And then I take CUQ10, I take multivitamins, I take vitamin D, and I take vitamin B12 every day. So every morning when I get up, drink a big cup of water, take my vitamins, take my neurotropic, get my other drink that I'm going to drink throughout the day, I put on these headphones, I pump in some music, and I get to writing. I don't play on the internet. I don't check emails. I do that stuff when I'm getting up and going to the bathroom, checking, getting vitamins or whatever. I do that stuff first. So if there's something pressing that I need to take care of, I could do it. But usually, I try not to do that. And then after I write, I usually write for about 45, 50 minutes. I take a break and walk around, kind of refresh, reset. Then I go back and do it again. So every 45 to 50 minutes or so, I get up and walk around and kind of move. I found that by doing that, I'm able to be more productive. Oh, and the other thing that I have in my writing room where I write is I have a essential oil diffuser. You know what I'm talking about? Have you seen those?
Yeah.
And I put pine essential oil in there, so it smells like a pine forest in here. It just helps me like kind of relax and feel good. And then I got a brand new chair as like a little massager thing for my back and butt, and it's nice. But that's the creative way to get things going is I know what I have to do every day, and the thing that I do, and I don't think I have one on here. Maybe I do. Yeah, I have a list on my phone. What I do every single day. These are the things I have to do. Every day I have to do all this stuff, and so I make that list every single day, and I make sure it's prep for the next day. So every day after I do something, mark it off. Like when I'm done with the podcast tonight, I'm going to go in my little notes here, and I'm going to delete the podcast, right? Because I know that I did the podcast tonight. Whatever script I'm working on or project I'm working on, I'm going to do that, and so that's going to be done, and so every day I get all this stuff done, and that's how I stay on track, and that's how I stay creative. What do you use? What hacks do you use?
So I found that kind of like going back to your process, being on a schedule definitely helps and helps me boost. So I do the list thing too, but I use index cards. I'm not as fancy as the phone list yet. So like
the phone list is easy, man.
I know, it's just there's something about index cards that I don't know. I like actually physically like crossing or checking the box. So like before I go to bed, I'll write out my to-dos for the next day all on an index card, and then I'm kind of like the same thing. Like I'm usually up until like 1 or 2, so I wake up
in the morning.
Yeah.
Whew, you're the night owl writer.
Well, yeah. I mean, I get good writing from like I don't know, like 11 to 2 is a good spot for me. It's like my second shift of writing. But yeah, I'm up around like 8-ish, and then I don't start doing any work until probably around like 9:30. So I start with coffee and Simpsons and try to just get my head ready for the day. But then throughout the day, like I'm with you. Like I'll do maybe like if I'm writing, I'll do 1 or 2 hours of straight writing, take a break, and then a couple like solid hours again. I think we might share the same drink. I use the herba mate, however.
Yeah, during the beginning of the day, I have a energy drink. It used to be Bang, and now it's a company called 3D Energy. So that's my morning drink, and that gets me till about noon. Then afternoon, it's usually a yerba mate, but I do the guayusa, guayak, whatever it is, the yellow can, and I do the mint one, and that one I get until dinner time. And also during that time, I also have like big cups of water, so I'm just not like dehydrating myself. And then dinner time, I have water, and that's it. Like those are the two things that I have. Sometimes if I really have like a lot of projects, I might have 2 energy drinks during the day, which is way too many honestly. But what it does is it's weird because for some people, caffeine amps them up, right? It's like takes them to a level. For me, it gets me in this focused flow state where I can write and like be on point and do everything I need to do and get to the point that I need to get to. But for some people, it's too much, right? I know some people that take Adderall and then write and stuff. I know some people who take neurotropics, or some people who take other different kinds of mind-altering substances and do that and then write. But I don't think I do well on any of those things. Caffeine's probably my limit, and it's got to be an energy drink, and I'm very careful. Like I said, I usually only have 1. Sometimes I'll have 2 if I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to I'll be like working from 10 to like 6 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night. So Today I had two, right? I had one in the morning, and then I had one after lunch. I had another energy drink because I knew I was going to be grinding it out until 6, 7 o'clock at night tonight. And so, and then all my meeting nights for the course that I'm in and the mentorship thing program I'm in, we're there till 10:30 at night, usually 10:30, 11. So I have two on those days as well. The rest of the week, usually just one. And I really, like I said, I really add water to it. So nobody write and say, James, you're going to blow up your hearts. Like, it's okay. I promise you that I'm having water. I promise you that, I mean, this is, you can't see it because it's green, but this is water. There's water in here, but I do that. And if you know the background, go ahead and post that in the YouTube comments below. I am going to guarantee you that nobody's going to figure this out, because even the people that love this show, that know this show besides me, and I know a lot of people do, they're not going to know what this background is because it's shot from a different angle. So this from a different angle. Actually, if I show you the table, if you look at one thing on the dining room table, you might be able to figure it out fast. But besides that, you won't figure it out. So creativity is a big part of getting it done. Now, the other part of creativity is planning before you get creative, right? So if you're writing a screenplay, do you do an outline?
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you have, like a process, like I use like modified version of Blake Snyder's Save the Cat beat sheet for a screenplay. What do you use?
Yeah, essentially the same thing. It's the outline of the plot points, the midpoint, the hook. And then I kind of created my own version from that. So I have a blank template that I can just, fill in all the, And then I tried using a cork board with index cards, but it's just like I couldn't fit that many on the cork board.
You have to buy a big one, actually, because you need I think it's like 40 cards or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I can fit maybe like 8 across, but it gets pretty crazy with all the cards. But like, I don't know, if I had a lot of time and I'm working like on like a screenplay of my own that I think is going to be amazing, I would probably like put in the extra effort and have like a million of those cards.
Now you use fade in like I do, right? That's one of the things that you use.
Yeah, I also, I mean, yeah. So
there's a
final draft.
Yeah, fade in also has index cards that you can put in there, so you can do that too if you do index cards. So if you're an index card person and you're like me, like I don't like paper. There's nothing against paper. I just don't. I don't like. If I have all this digital stuff, right? I have an iPad, an iPhone, and a laptop, and whatever. Like I'm not gonna write on paper. Like I'm just gonna write. Actually, somebody mentioned to me, "Oh man, isn't it so sad that the post office is going away?" And I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not sad at all. I don't care." They're like, "Well, what if you want to send somebody a letter?" I'm like, "There's this thing that was created in the '90s. It's called email. Do that. Send them an email. That's a electronic letter. No trees die. You don't worry about junk mail. If someone spams you, you just block them and get rid of it. Never have to worry about it again. I don't have to get 80 different junk mail flyers in my mailbox every week. Most of my mail is junk mail. If I get a bill, that's because I was stupid. I didn't put it on an e-bill and get sent to me or whatever. So, no, there's no reason. I'm sorry. Anybody who loves the post office, if you're a postal worker, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to knock you, but mail's dead. It is. There's literally no reason for us to have mail. I'm sorry. There's not. If anyone can give me a compelling reason why there should still be mail, please put it in the comments and on YouTube. I would love to hear it because I can guarantee you I can debunk any reason for you to have mail. Now, if you're going to say packages, we've got UPS, FedEx, DHL, all those places deliver way better than the post office does and way faster. So that
not cheaper though.
Not cheaper, but faster. But
for sure.
But also the post office loses money annually. Every year they lose money, right? And we keep funding it, right? You wouldn't do that for anything else. UPS doesn't lose money every year. FedEx doesn't lose money every year. DHL, none of these other places lose money every year. Why are we losing money? And like I said, most of the mail that goes through the post office is junk mail. It's those stupid flyers you get and whatever. Here's an idea, companies. You want to save yourself some money? Start emailing people those coupons. They'll use them. They're not going to not use them, right? Make an app. Make an app like Chick-fil-A or Whole Foods or whatever does, and take your thing. Let people scan it on their little phone. Everybody's got a phone. There's people in the third world that have iPhones, okay? And they also make them. So let's not. All I'm saying is there's no reason to write on anything. Sorry. I'm trying to not trying to knock your cards, Luke, but I literally hate paper.
The government knows where James is always.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. They totes do. There's just a satellite over my house all the time. But yeah, I can't. I'm not a paper person. So when I want to use index cards, Fade In does have index cards for that stuff. I get it. I understand why the tactile touching, right? I still collect comic books, right?
Mhm.
As rude as I am about the post office stuff, I still collect comic books. These are physical paper book things, but I collect them because to me they're nostalgia. They're something different, right? I also collect DVDs, right? I have DVDs and Blu-rays, so I still do that, right? I'm not all 100% off of standard touching technology, right? I'm not that person that's like, I'm gonna live in the Matrix. Like it's not that. I'm not that guy, right? I live in a VR world. Like I'm not doing any of that stuff. I just if we can save save trees, if we can save
Mhm.
trash, if we can save money, that's my biggest thing. And I get it. There's all these people who have lots of jobs in the post office. So if you know somebody in the post office or you are in the post office, I'm not trying to knock you. I appreciate your job. I appreciate everything that you've done, but this is the 21st century and you're just like coal miners, your job's going away. We don't need you anymore, right? And that's not a knock on you. I'm just saying coal miners lost their jobs because we don't need that anymore. And so there you go. So be creative, right? That's what being creative is about. That's the whole point, right? Someone was creative enough to come up with email, an electronic mailing system that you could just, hey, I write this thing and you get it, Luke, like immediately, not 5 to 7 days from now, not after I lick a nasty plastic stamp and stick it on a thing and then lick an envelope and put my slobber all over it and pass COVID onto you. It's not that. None of that. We don't have to do any of that. It's just type, enter, done, right? And so that's what being creative is really streamlining the process, and that's why I have the process I have. It's so streamlined, and it may seem to anybody listening, it may seem like, oh, dude, that's such a lame process. That's such just a like a flat, yeah. But I am very effective in what I do, right? In the 2.5 years that I've been doing writing projects and just from one platform, I've done over 550 projects, right? In 2.5 years. How many people have done 550 projects, right? And this is from writing simple jokes all the way up to writing screenplays, right? If you can know somebody who's done that, kudos. And I guarantee you they have a process. I guarantee you that their creativity is not limited to, well, whenever the muse comes, then I'll start writing. That's not how it works. People who sit around and do that never write anything, right? Do you think Stephen King has a muse? I know he doesn't. You know why? Because I've read On Writing. And if you are a writer or you want to be any kind of writer, it doesn't matter, wrote jokes, whatever, read On Writing by Stephen King. Your mind will be blown because everyone thinks like, oh, they just writers write whenever they're inspired. No, Stephen King spends 8 hours a day at that keyboard or for a while a typewriter, just banging them out, man. Like that's what he did. He was so crazy that he even did cocaine and wrote books. It was crazy. Like I think he says he doesn't remember writing Cujo, right? He was so out of his mind on stuff that he doesn't remember writing Cujo. That's crazy. That's a dedicated dude. Who are you? How dedicated are you? I'm not saying go do that. I'm just saying, how dedicated are you? Are you going to put in the time? And right, and let's say you have a full-time job, right? You work 40 hours a week or a part-time job. You have a day job that you can't just write all day like Stephen King or whatever. Guess what? Now you should be more structured. You should be the most structured person. When I still had a day job and I was doing that on the side, every day I got off at 1 o'clock or 1:30 or whatever my time was. I went to the library or wherever my designated writing place was, and I wrote until 5 or 6 o'clock at night. Then I came and did podcast, or I came and did stand-up, or I went and did whatever, or I spent time with my family, or whatever it was I was doing. But I had a plan every single day. And that's why I was successful. Now, am I Kevin Hart successful? No. Am I The Rock successful? No. Am I Jerry Seinfeld successful? No, not yet. But that's what I'm always going to say. Not yet. Because I'm going to get there. And it's going to be because I work hard, because I have a way to be creative. I don't wait for anything. Creativity waits for me. I don't wait for creativity, right? It's like Chuck Norris, right? Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down, right? Creativity, I don't wait for creativity. Creativity's waiting for me.
And honestly, I found that a little trick that I use is if I'm having like writer's block on a certain project, I'll just start writing something else or working on a different project, and usually my mind will like go back to the original project. So it's just a way of starting and like tricking my brain into like getting into that creative mode. But you're right, like if if you just wait for inspiration to happen, then what are you gonna do a project like once every year and get paid? You gotta do it
Yep.
every day.
You cannot wait for the muse to strike you. You have to go out there and be ready to get in it and mix it up, man. And that's the best thing, right? When I find I'm stuck on a project, I'll save that project, right? Maybe I'll have 3 windows open and fade in, or I'll have 2 windows and fade in, and a Microsoft document open, or whatever it is, and I'll put those down. I'll minimize that screen. I'll work on a different project, and sometimes I'll be in the middle of a sentence and I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's great." Save, go back to the other thing, just right through it, and then I'm like, okay, cool, I got it all out. Save, go back to the other project. That happens to me 3 or 4 times a day. I almost never fully go through an entire project in one day, ever. I mean, even short projects, like I've written like 5-page, 8-page web series, never finish it in one day. Never, ever, ever. I have outlines for them too. So it's not like I'm going like, oh, I have to make this all up. No, I have an outline where I've already here's the story. I know what it's going to be, but I'm not going to finish it that day because it doesn't happen,
Yeah.
Good.
I found too that if I'm working on like a story related problem, or like how something needs to happen, if I just like walk around somewhere or take a walk while thinking about it, then usually I can come up with something. Just get it, like changing the location. That helps too. Generally.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but
no, when I was at the library, I'd walk around and I'd sometimes like go open a book just so I grab a book on the topic that maybe I'm writing about and go start reading. And then I'll like get like 8 pages in or something. I'll just open to the middle of the book and just start reading or whatever. Or I'll go look at the index and the chapters and just pick a chapter and start reading. And then maybe I'll be like 3 pages in. I'm like, oh, that's great. And then close the book and run back and go write. That happens. Or I'll like be writing whatever the topic is. And there's graphic novels at the library, and I'll open a graphic novel that I've read a million times. I'm just going through it, and I'm like, oh, that's genius, and close the thing and go do it. Right now, because I can't go to the library, I usually go skateboard for like 15, 20 minutes. I'll skateboard around my neighborhood and then come back. I'm sure it's weird for all the kids who are inside looking at the computers like, why is there an old guy skating? But I do that a couple times a day. So yeah, I mean, you got to find ways to be productive. But the biggest thing, if you want to be creative, is it's not magic, right? It's not a muse. You're not waiting for anything. You have to plan to be creative. If you don't plan, you're not going to be successful, right? If you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a process, you're not going to be successful. I would go read Into the Story by Scott Myers. It's on Medium and a couple other places in the Blacklist, and he talks about different things that he does. He has the 1, 2, I think it's 1, 2, 7, 10 idea, and I think I copied it for stand-up too, or a variation of that idea, of watching something once a week, reading something twice, reading 2 screenplays, working for 7 hours and planning for 10 hours or something like that. And by the end of it, you'll have a certain amount of screenplays. Same thing. If you put in the work every day, if you come up with a plan every day, you're going to do it. Jerry Seinfeld used to have his break the chain, right? He had the calendar where every day he'd X out, he wrote a joke that day, he wrote a joke that day, every day. And that's why he's so successful. The people who get successful, the people who get the things they want, it doesn't happen by accident. It happens by a lot of work, and it just looks like an accident to everyone else because they go, oh man, all of a sudden they're famous. Yeah, 15 years of work, 10 years of work, whatever it was to get to that point, because it's been building up, right? It's a snowball effect. An avalanche doesn't start, avalanche starts because one piece of snow fell, and another piece of snow fell, and they just keep falling on each other. So they make a giant snow mound, and then that mound falls, right? And it might take years, it might take months, it might take days, it might take weeks, who knows? But then eventually you have something massive, and when that moves forward, then you're ready to go. You have all the stuff. And the other thing is, if you don't plan now, right, when your time comes to get there, and you only have step up, and then they go, yeah, you're amazing, you're a funny comedian. Can you do 20 minutes? Oh, I've only been doing the same 5 minutes for the last 10 years. Like, dude, what have you been doing, bro? Like, let's go. So plan now, work hard now, work on the creativity. The creativity will come when you put in the work. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's not a magical system. All right. So thank you guys so much for listening to Queen Comedy Podcast. Luke, where can people find you?
You can find me where the muse lives.
And where does the muse live? On Google. All right. And you can find me, JamesDCreviston, at comedypreneur.com. Go on YouTube, put in the notes what the background is. Ask any creativity questions for Luke and I, what we do, what we are using, stuff like that. We are more than happy to give you tips and tricks. I'm not a professional by any means whatsoever. I'm not the greatest person on earth, but I will give you an answer, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and have a great week. Bye.
See ya.
See you clean up in here. So clean your mouth out with a bar of soap and get ready for the clean comment.